Man, happy From Day. It is officially the 22nd. From premieres today. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Happy From Day. The day we all been waiting for is here. What's up, everybody? What's up, Mohammed? How's it going? Happy From Day. Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I got a lot of stuff to show y'all. There's a lot of theories to go over. I know there's a lot of streams going on, but thank you guys for joining my stream. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Get in the chat. Let me know some of the theories you guys want to talk about before we start. Just get some things together here for the stream. Man, so please enter in the chat some of the things you guys been wanting to talk about, some of the things you guys been thinking about as far as from. There's a lot of theories, and I might even just go through some of the Facebook groups and discuss some of the theories that they have because they've been doing a real good job with some of the theories. Some of the people that I've met in some of the From Facebook groups are doing some real deep dives and have no interest in like making YouTubes and things like that. They just been making, pictures and doing explanations on their own theories. And so there's always a lot to talk about with From. So yeah, like I said, make sure you guys like the stream. Let me know, put in the chat what you guys want to talk about. What's going on, Mohammed? This is I'm doing a little bit of a later stream, but I had some other stuff going on. But I did want to jump on here and at least talk to y'all and record something on the day. I probably, like I said, I'm also doing something tonight. I believe I've seen different things. I've seen that the episode goes live on a couple different platforms, right? I think Amazon has something that is going to go live on where it will just air the first episode. Then I heard that on the streaming app MGM, you might be able to watch it after 3 a.m. That's usually how Netflix does it because of the East and the West Coast. But I definitely got some exclusives for y'all. Of course, I always try to hit y'all with some exclusives. Always try to hit y'all with some new things that's not out. Maybe some other streamers are not talking about. So definitely stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff to go over. A lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of theories to talk about. So I'm just waiting a little while, but yeah, I got a lot of stuff planned for this stream. I think it's going to be a good stream. And like I said, I'm doing a later stream than I normally do, but I had some other stuff going on. But I wanted to come on here and at least talk about our favorite show. Let's see. Right now, from did their premiere. So this is I put this on one of my shorts. They had the From premiere this weekend.
So happy to be here, and I can't wait for people to start seeing it. I've been like buzzing all week. I keep watching the trailer over and over. I'm really excited.
Say about season 3, every single episode that I read left me covered in goosebumps and reeling from what I just read. So if it translates on screen the way it did on the page, I think it's going to be truly exceptional.
They might see me and voice interactive in. I'm not going to say if it's good or bad, but we definitely get together a little bit.
Like the world is finally coming together, and fans of the show, and I think us, the creatives, are like going to be enjoying this ride together.
Hi, it's Avery. I play Sarah on From, and I hope you tune in to season 3.
I love how Sarah has to introduce herself like we all don't know who Sarah is. Everybody knows who Sarah is.
So happy to be here, and I can't wait for people to start seeing it. I've been like buzzing all week. I keep watching the trailer over and over. I'm really excited.
Say about season 3, every single episode that I read left me covered in goosebumps and reeling from what I just read. So if it translates on screen the way it did on the page, I think it's going to be truly exceptional.
They might see me and voice interactive in.
And fans of the show, and I think us, the creatives, are like going to be enjoying this ride together.
Hi, it's Avery. I play Sarah on From, and I hope you tune in to season 3.
Yeah, so it looked like they had a great time, at the From premiere. I definitely would have loved to have been in the building. I would have loved to see all of the favorite stars in person. I did get a chance to talk to a lot of them. And so over the last 3 nights, I've been going live. The first night on live, I went through the different interviews and things like that. That let's see, I did a theories review, and then I did all the interviews. I did all the interviews and stuff like that that I watched and did with some of the cast members, and I replayed my interview with uh, Ian Chen, who plays Kenny's mom. And so I have on here the next episode, but I didn't want to play it as far as the interview I did with Tien Chen. I didn't want to play until after the premiere, but I believe the premiere happens at like 3 a.m. or something like that. But rest of the people might not watch it until like the afternoon, so I'm just gonna wait, and that should be up live later today. But like I said, I always do got some exclusive for y'all. So these are some of the exclusive picks from episode 1 that I believe I can go through if you guys haven't seen them yet. But I would love, of course, love to talk theories with you guys. So I mean, we know that they left us on a hell of a cliffhanger. So we know that they were going to pick up with Tabitha in the hospital, and that's exactly what they did. And that was a big, reveal. But the question that I had was, what time was it, as far as what year, what month, what day, and where was she, right? Everybody was trying to figure out where was she. And I think I got some clues that laid it out to where she was because, as we know, she looked through the window and she looked on a town, and people have identified that town based on the tower. There was a long white tower, and people were identifying that as Camden, Maine. And so movies, and this is where movies, become movies, right? Like movies do this all the time. Movies will mix up cities. Like if you guys remember Batman Dark Knight, they shot that in three cities, and because Gotham's not a real city. So it was like New York, Chicago, and Pittsburgh was the three cities that made up Gotham City. And so you could any given time you could see different things, and it wasn't really recognizable unless you knew all three cities. And so same thing here. I believe they shot the hospital scene on a closed set. Now I believe they went to Camden, Maine, obviously, but I believe they're filming in Nova Scotia. So there's a couple of places that they're filming at, just doing a whole bunch of things. And so Tabitha is back in the hospital. She's talking to the doctor, and the doctor's just trying to get information from her because remember, she was found with no ID. So when it starts, if you know how these things work, the police have to get involved. The police have to ask questions. The police have to find out information as far as who the person is, what happened to him, and was there any type of crime committed, and they have to investigate. So I believe Tabitha does not want to go through that. She can barely believe what's going on, but she doesn't want to get into all that who, what, when's, where's, and why's because she doesn't have a physical address on where she was, so she doesn't know. And so, of course, the first thing she does is she skedaddles. Man, she gets out of that hospital like for real. She skedaddles out of that hospital. And the thing that I noticed about this scene, and I can't really zoom in, but she's on the 12th floor. And so 12 just happens to be a really, really big number in from. There's a lot going on with numerology in this. A lot of people have been following the path of like 4 and 7, 11, but I kind of been sticking to 12, right? I kind of been sticking to the number 12. I feel like that is a big deal. And another episode I wanted to play for the reason why I've been sticking to 12 was my theories on the clocks. And so I did this video here, the clocks, and it kind of breaks down the mystery of the clocks and from like ask the question about time because there's 12 hours, 12 marks, 12 months, 12 buildings, 12 talismans, and 12 characters. So yesterday, I believe we played the jukebox a little bit. We went to the bell, and those were dealing with frequencies, right? Because I believe there was something going on with the frequencies, and it could have been related to witchcraft. But I think I'm just going to play some of the other videos I have as far as the visions, and then as far as the clocks, and we can even go into some of the caves, some of the theories that I think about what some of the talismans may be. So I'll start with this video on the clocks, and we can watch that, and then I'll get back into some of the pictures and some of the spoilers. So let's start with that. Happy From
On
Night. What's
From,
up?
we see a variety of
Hello,
clocks
Dana
either
Marie.
on walls or on the residence. None seem to be accurately telling time, and furthermore, the seasons don't change according to times of years. The only correct time function is the ever daunting nightfall, which in Fromville could signify the timing of your death. Hello from fans. On this episode, we are investigating the clocks and how time works in Fromville. There are popular Facebook and Reddit theories that think that the clock's not working symbolizes that time is irrelevant in this place. The first example of
Okay,
clocks we've
yeah,
seen
great.
is
That's
the
what's up.
clock in
Thanks
the
for the
Sheriff
message.
Boyd's office. In the majority of the scenes, the time is fixed, but there were a few that it has changed. We don't know if this is a continuity error from the production staff or it is meant to symbolize there's something up with the time. It could be the batteries dying, but not for the ones at the clinic that used to be a school. Those clocks are wired into the building connecting to the mysterious electric flowing through the walls. So why is it stopped? There are two clocks in the clinic, normally separated by a sheet curtain. The first is in the room with the alphabet posters of which the letters for VICTTOR is missing, and the second is in the space with the numbers of which the number 1 is missing. And as far as we can tell, both clocks are stopped on exactly the same time. What are the chances of that? What does this mean? In episode 2 of season 1, the clock read 8:31, but then in season 1 episode 4, the clock is at 4 p.m. From has a scene style that when they want the audience to take note of something, they make sure whatever item or information it is, it's shown prominently as if to say a clue, a clue.
It's a nice watch.
Hey, just leave it alone.
Even though the clocks were shown, there is never any mention that they mean something. What if time is much, much longer in this place? It seems that some of the town residents are unsure about how long they exactly have been there compared to the colony house members who seem to know exactly how long by having anniversary parties. The possible order of arrival is, of course, Victor first, then Father Kotri, Donna, Dale, Boyd, Ellis, and Abby. Corey, not sure who he is. Fatima. This was stated she came in a Volkswagen and asked Corey for directions about 1 YR ago. Eric, the guy who hung himself. Christy, who mentioned when she first got there, helped her, who was later confirmed by Mari to have been missing for 6 months. The next group after that was Kenny and his family, Jim and his family at the same time as Jade and Toby, then the large bus crowd in season 2. In other episodes and scenes, other clocks were shown at 7:27. We see the second hand clearly not moving within the clock. So it seems to be a mystery on how the hour and minutes are changing. This proves that the time does change, and people wear wristwatches for no purpose at all other than habit. Clocks and watches contain quartz, and with a battery that produces an electrical current to make the watch work. The town has no actual supply to electricity, so if the clocks don't work, this could be due to interference of electrical currents, or perhaps the town has a current of its own. Is this current responsible for pulling people into the town, somehow using the radio or radio waves? Could it be that all these people are being dragged in fromville by a vehicle which all have a radio or were listening to music? Could it be that the clocks show different times because that was the time that particular watch or wall clock entered that place, which would explain the different buildings from seemingly different time periods? Reddit fans are convinced the talisman symbols are symbols that represent time on a clock. There are 12 hours, 12 months, 12 talismans with 12 marks, 12 buildings, and even as far as 12 man characters in the story. There was even a possible Easter egg moment when Jim was writing ideas on the house walls, and Tabitha asked him if he figured it out, and he said the answer was 12. That's right, you guessed it. The number 12 carries certain religious, mythological, and magical symbolism, generally representing perfection, entirety, or cosmic order. The key to understanding why this number is divine is that it is symbolic of the creation of the universe, as in the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. It has also been noted that many of the clocks have no second hands, and if you compare the clocks to the talismans, they are a circle, much like a clock, and there are 3 arms in the symbol. We already know there are different orientations of the symbol because we have seen that, and Jade has made special mention of this. Could it be that each position of each symbol is representative of a different time of day, seconds included? There are a few drawings that surfaced of clocks that look like a game board wheel with spinning arrows. The clock in the picture could be a timer like in chess, and the colors with the arrows represent how the characters use the faraway trees to move through each level of the game. The other connection about the clock and the faraway trees is how supposedly you never end up in the same place, but you may because you have to enter at a certain time or time of day in relation to the talismans based on time on the clock. As far as clocks in relation to being used in witchcraft, there aren't that many traditional examples. Witchcraft tends to allude to rural practices, and until very recently, the mechanical clock was an item of extreme luxury not available to the countryside practitioners. There was a theory that Father Khatri was sitting in a sundial clock face in the woods talking to Nathan. The sundial he was in would not have 12, but it would follow the solar path: east 3, south 6, west 9, north 12. There is a general connection to the clock face and the circular astrological charts that are intimately related. One could say that the clock embodies time not being controllable, only measurable, also tending to represent an inexorability. In the scene where Trudy approaches Jade in front of the bar, she is seen wearing a black shirt with four layered circles. The middle layer is yin and yang, surrounded by a clock face, surrounded by astrology signs and zodiac signs on the outer circle. One of the meanings of this relates to the phrase as above, so below. This phrase can connect to the Bible in Matthew 6:10 and the Lord's Prayer, which says, "Set the world right, do what's best, as above, so below, and your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." More esoteric astrologers can relate this phrase to the Emerald Tablet: as above, so below, as within the universe, so with the soul. Hermes Trismegistus. A deep explanation: as above, so below, as within, so without, meaning to accomplish the miracle of the one thing, as the universe, so the soul. This applies to astrology because what happens in the heavens is mirrored here on earth or vice versa. Neither is the cause of the other happening, like a clock doesn't cause the time to be noon, but
GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Get 0% AP.
lets you know that it's noon and the energy of lunchtime, midday when the sun is directly overhead. Similarly, summer and winter have very different energies associated with each. So when the sun is in Cancer, it feels like summer among many other things, and Cancers have specific traits because of the influence of the sun's position, along with the traits of the other planets' energies and aspects. Then, during winter, when the sun is in Capricorn, we have a cold, serious feeling accompanied by the death of a lot of plants and animals, the shortest days of the year, and living off the harvest that was reaped in the fall. So Capricorn deals with endings, government, leaders, and the elderly, reaping what we have down and learning lessons essential to survival. The energies of the times are imprinted on each life and reflected by the position of the planets. As above, so below. As within, so without. What you believe and put your energy toward and your thoughts on will be reflected in the life you chose to live, the environment you surround yourself with, and the way you treat people. Astrology charts are maps which reflect the heavens of our solar system at a specific point in time. Astrologers delineate these maps and find specific correlations. These charts represent a rough particle physics diagram relating to string theory that states everything in our universe is connected, like fractals. Astrologers may tend to call this mapping and delineating cycles of corresponding energies and resonances. Trudy, wearing this shirt in that scene as Jade is wailing up saying string theory, Einstein-Podolsky, Rosen paradox, and Einstein-Rosen bridge, and she says, "Where are you going with that?" In relation to the string theory, Trudy's shirt connection to it is the second reference we hear on the show. During Fatima's one-year party Dale mentioned, They were in a pocket dimension instead of what string theories believed was a multiverse of 11 different dimensions. If string theory is true, our universe has extra dimensions that lie curled up at every point around us. Could the residents be in one? The next scene after that is Boyd in his office looking at the map connected by strings. Coincidence? I think not. The last clock connection is a connection with Elgin Father Time and watches. Elgin is the name of a watch manufacturer from between 1864 and 1968. 1864 is one of the dates carved in the stone archway in Tabitha's dream. The Elgin Company made fine watches, and many of the watches made 100 years ago still work perfectly today, but most interestingly, their logo symbol was Father Time, who looks a bit like the character Martin. I think the writers are directing us to think about time. They have a new character named after a watch manufacturer. They showed a grandfather clock in the monster's lair, and they showed a drawn clock face in show episodes and behind the scenes. Another scene of significance with music is in season 2, Tether, when Kenny and Ellis are in the forest, when out of the blue they hear an alarm playing music. As they walk over to investigate, they find Kelly, one of the new arrivals from the Grand Rapids bus. This scene shows that the monster used her phone alarm to go off to notify the residents she was there. The alarm seems to be set specifically for that time when Kenny and Ellis would be close by to hear it. How did the creatures know? Or was it set randomly for anyone to find her? This also relates to the music box with this theory that instead of comparing it to a clock, compare it to a symbol that is saying time is running out. On behalf of the Movie Guru and Movie Guru Media, I
Yeah, so that was one of the videos I did about the clocks, and I'll sort of go back through and break it down. But I wanted to just listen to it because I it's been a while since I made it and since I've seen it. But there was a lot of mysteries going on. I just kind of noticed that there was a ton of clocks in the back of each scene, right? And I started like trying to take a note of what times were on them. It was kind of hard because it was a background image, right? And so, what's Muhammad said that it is possible that the numbers on the watch are something similar to numbers of lost. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're dealing with the same creators, and I'm sure they're going to try to implement some of the same elements. And so I didn't find any connection with the different clocks, but there was a lot of them, right? There was, let me go back. There's in the precinct or the post office, there's this clock between the I guess the jail cells and wherever else that is. So that looks to be about 6:45. That's like six, that's seven, eight, almost nine. So 6:40. Then the next one, yeah, it's like well, actually, no. It looks like it's about seven, 6, 7, 8. It's about 8 o'clock or 8:55, and then this one looks to be about 4 o'clock, and this is also in the post office. And then these desk clocks, you can't really see. It's kind of blurry because I zoomed in, but that's 12 o'clock. And then this is another one. This is in the basement of the clinic, and I think that's like 9 o'clock or something like that. And then this is also in the basement, but see, it's different. So this is it before, and that's it in a different angle. It might be the same, it just might be a bad angle, but there's multiple clocks. And then here, this is like where the patients are in the clinic, and then that clock has a different time. And so there's a whole bunch of clocks in there, and some of the times, and I try to watch between episodes to see if they changed, and they didn't. But when I was looking it up, um, the the watches that people have don't work, right? So we know that, right? And then like went back to the scene where Jade watch doesn't work. No cell phones work. But they were able to get the radio signals out. And so the quartz watches that people have on their arms will not work, but the clocks in the buildings would because they're hardwired, right? So technically, if there was electricity in the building, there would also the clocks would work. And now we know that electricity is like a big mystery or whatever, but it would still work. So they still should work. And so I always thought that was interesting. But The whole point of to say all that is that the time does not work the same in from. And what I've come up with is that Victor, even though he is a grown person, I think he's only been in from a short amount of time. Now, what I'm saying is that yes, he was in from, I believe, 1978 is when he first arrived. But I believe when Tabitha goes back into the real world, he'll only have been missing for like 12 years or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's not a long time. And I say 12 because, like I said, 12 is that number that comes around, right? 12, I think I put it in here somewhere, 12 months, 12 days, 12 whatever. And so I believe, yeah, here it is, 12 hours, 12 months, 12 talismans, 12 marks. Tabitha is at the hospital on the 12th floor. Victor has been missing for 12 years. So and then Jim asked, what was the answer to everything. And from when he was writing everything on the wall, he broke it down that the answer was 12. That's what he said. And so um, that's my theory on the time and the clocks, and that it's something going on that we don't know, of course, but it has something to do with 12. So now Deepak Kumar is asking, where can he watch in, I don't know what country that is. But yeah, it's only in the US right now. But I got some pictures from episode one. If you guys, so pretty much what I'm doing is after I go through one of my videos, I'll go through some more of the pictures. I kind of went through some of these pictures already, and I'll come back to them. But this was Tabitha waking up in the hospital. This is her leaving the hospital. Once again, if you zoom in, she's on the 12th floor. So if you look above the elevator door, you see the number 12. She was on the 12th floor. This is her leaving the hospital. Now we get a little bit more sense of time when we see her leave the hospital because um, there's a police car. But do you see what the name says on the side of the police car? It says Camden, right? So she's 100% in Camden, Maine. So the name on the police car says Camden Police. So St. Anthony's Hospital is in Camden, Maine. So their mystery solved as far as where Tabitha is. So let me get back to the video, and I'll after this I'll play some more. And so yeah, so there's a lot of theories going on with, like I said, the clocks, time, 12, and also the talisman. There was a comparison somewhere that I saw, and I put it in here that the talisman does look like the face on the clock, right? It does, and some of the symbols even match up as far as if this is an hour, a shorthand as an hour, and this is minutes, and then if you flip it around, this being the shorthand for hours and this being the minutes, could tell a certain time where we know this is the sun, this is day, and then we know on this side this is night. So if we knew that, looks like one could be like 140 or 120 or something like that, and this could be same thing, or it could be uh, pretty much 345. So there's a couple of things it could be, but we don't know yet. But I would definitely love to know what you guys think about some of the time. Is time running in a straight line, or is time kind of all over the place and from? But I think the time thing has something else to do with it, especially when it comes to the buildings, right? Because I believe, as I said, you look at the buildings. There's multiple buildings from seemingly multiple eras, right? There's the Colony House, which is from the colonial age, and there's the clinic that happens to be from like the 90s or something like that, and then there's the houses in the town that could be from like the 50s, 60s, and then you got the creatures, right? So the creatures all have on these old school clothes, like the milkman is definitely from the 50s, right? It's a 50s milkman. And then so this picture right here of these clocks, this was not shown on the show, and this was not in Victor's room, but I believe in like the end of season one, they had a cast party and they had like pictures from the show like in the lobby, and this was one of the pictures, and I guess they just didn't use it on the show, but there was a clock. This looks more like an alarm clock. and I was trying to see the time on there. It looks like I can't really see the numbers because it's kind of scribbled, but it looked like it was 7 o'clock. So I don't know if that means something or what, but then that could tie into the whole 4 and 7 thing. And then this bottom picture was like looks like drawing of faraway trees and a color wheel. And so I'm guessing that depending on, if you can relate that to a clock, depending on when you enter or when you go around into the faraway tree, depends on where you would come out. And I think that would connect to Victor's map that he had in either in his room or in the peach truck. And I was trying to put the two together, but I really couldn't see. But you do see some colors here, like this is purple. And then if you look at the wheel, it could be the time to enter whatever tree that is in the purple side. And then there's green, there's yellow. There's a whole bunch of different colors here and there's a whole bunch of different things going on with that. But so there's definitely something going on with the clocks, something going on with the time. And but it gets deeper though, right? Because there's time and space, right? And so that's how we know that they kind of go hand in hand. So that's how we see one person enter the faraway tree at a certain time and then come out in a different space. Just like we see Tabitha go in the lighthouse, she come out the lighthouse into a different space, and all these things going around here. So there's a lot that goes on with the time and space. We don't know how it works, but we see symbolisms of it all over. Now we know that the shirts that the cast wear are very specific and they're clues, right? I had the opportunity to interview Nathan Simmons, who plays Elgin, and I asked him about the shirt that he wears, and he told me that Jack Bender specifically gave him that shirt to wear, so it has a meaning behind it, right? And so I would believe the same thing for the shirt that Trudy had on in season one. So she had the zodiac sign. She kind of yin and yang. She had a couple of astrological signs there, and all that connects with a whole bunch of different things. And it could be similar to the picture that they had here with the clocks and the colors. So there's a whole bunch of things that could be going on there with that. So what do you guys think about the time? What do you guys think that it says something crazy going on with the time? Did Tabitha go back in time? What year is she in? And how will she get back? Pretty much that's the whole question. Will she be able to help everybody? So that was my clocks video. That was one of the took a long time to make, but I definitely was proud of the video that I made, and they're all here on my page. And so let's get to some more pictures. So these are some of the other pictures from episode one. Like I said, it started with Tabitha waking up in the hospital. The doctor asking her information about where she's from. She was found with no ID. So they're pretty much going to be trying to get this information from her. And I believe the police are called. And so she decides to get out of there, leaves the hospital on the 12th floor. When she comes out, the police are just arriving. It looks like they just missed her. Somebody said, "Isn't it the time of Christy's disappearance correspond with her friend's story for 6 months?" Yeah, Christy's story correlates with her, and I'll play that part again in the video. Like I said, I kind of broke it down a little bit in the video
Trudy's shirt connection to it is the second reference we hear on the show.
as far as the order
During
of
Fatima's,
arrival.
it seems that some of the town residents are unsure about how long they exactly have been there compared to the colony house members who seem to know exactly how long by having anniversary parties. The possible order of arrival is, of course, Victor first, then Father Kotri, Donna, Dale, Boyd, Ellis, and Abby. Corey, not sure who he is. Fatima. This was stated she came in a Volkswagen and asked Corey for directions about 1 YR ago.
Yeah, so about 1 year ago. So she's been there 1 year. We know she had a 1 year anniversary party at the Colony House, and so pretty much, if she was missing 2/28, 2021, so this means that at the time of the party it was 2022. And like I said, she asked Corey for directions, and her car is yellow as well. So I don't know if there's something up with yellow, but we see yellow as a recurring theme as well. Her car was yellow, the Broncos yellow, and some other things were yellow as well. And let's see what else was there. So let's
Eric,
see.
the guy who hung himself. Christy, who
Here we go. Christy. So Christy on this poster, she's been missing since August 6th. Fatima missing since February. So about 5, 6, 7, 8. So about 6 months later comes Christy, and then when the bus pulls up, Murray says that she's been missing for about 6 months. So that would put the time frame for season two around say September, October, November, December, January. So puts them around January. So they should have. So when the bus came, it should have been pretty cold. It should have been snow around that time, right? So if you look at that, if you put that together. So yeah, but she said she had been missing for about 6 months. So isn't isn't it the time of Chris's disappearance corresponds with her friend's story? It's about 6 months. Yeah, Chris. I mean, Christy's story, pretty much lines up. But there are some people who are lying, right? And so the only way Christie's story would not add up is if Mari's lying as well. Um, Vanessa Wick is it out now? Can you watch it? Oh, just finished on Prime. Rough. Oh, it's on Prime. You can watch it on Prime. Let's see. I don't know if I have Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if I can watch it. Let's see. Let's see. I got Prime, but I don't know if I can watch episode one. The episodes. Oh, here it is, episode three. No, it says watch on MGM. Yeah, I don't have MGM. But yeah, episode one was crazy. So if it's out, then yeah. I mean, if it's out, then I guess we can watch all the stuff. I don't know if everybody watched it. So it says up on Prime. Oh wait, let me try to bring it up. Let me see if I can bring it up. Yeah, if I can bring it up, I'll put it on right now. Yeah, I don't know if it'll come right now. But we'll see if here it is. If I can bring it up, I'll bring it up right now. But yeah, there's a ton of different stuff going on. Let me see. So, episode one, but it was good to just see everybody, just to see everybody back, see the cast. Let's see the episodes, season episode one. No, it's the same deal. It's still telling me to watch on Prime. Yeah, I mean, it's still telling me to watch on MGM. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much seen the episode. But as we know, it starts with Tabitha in the hospital. She picks up with the doctor. Oh, it says it's on Prime right now. And then she escapes the hospital. And so I was just saying that the one of the things with the video with the clocks was 12, right? And of course, 12 was the floor that she was on. So if it's out, then we can just do a full review because most of these pictures line up to everything that happened in the first episode. So I think there's something symbolic about 12. So she leaves the hospital, and like I said, right here you'll see it's Camden Police. So she woke up in the hospital in Camden, Maine, and that's where we pretty much thought it was. and then we see her walking down the street. And so I was trying to identify things, and we saw here it said Audrey's Little Shop of Plants. I already looked it up. And so Audrey's Little Shop of Plants is in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and that is where they're shooting, right? That's not where the show is. The show, right, they're supposed to be in Camden, Maine, but they're filming in Nova Scotia. Like I said, that's a common thing. They did that in a lot of films. They did that in Batman, right? Batman Dark Knight was like New York, Chicago, and something else. So a lot of people watching now. And so we see Tabitha, like I said, leaving the hospital. She's walking down the street and she looks across the street. And who does she see? She sees the boy in white. Now, to me, this is not the same boy in white from this is not the same boy in white from like season one. I thought the boy in white from season one had dark hair, right? And so I don't know if she's seeing the right thing. I think she's just seeing things. I think she's literally seeing things here. And um, I think that this whoever this person is was talking to this other person. He just happened to be dressed like the boy in white, which is not a fashion statement, right? I don't think it's a fashion statement, but the boy was right there, and she started flipping out. And so she runs over there, and she doesn't really see him, and she goes up to somebody. She does find the boy, and she goes up to him, but it's not him. So then, later they're in the village. It cuts to the scene of Jim and Kenny. They're in the village, and we see these totems. Now, there was a lot going on with these totems, and somebody in the Facebook group kind of broke it down what they thought it was. But I mean, like I said, so I'm on the fence sometimes with the show because I've been theorizing so much about From, and when I watch the show, they usually just go for the simplest answer. And so I don't think that I'm not going to dig too deep into these totems. I just think they were just put there like scarecrows, pretty much. But we get to see Jim. We get to see the town, right? And the town is abandoned, right? Jim and Kenny go into the town, and there's nothing in there, right? There's nothing. It's totally abandoned, and they don't find it, but they do find stuff there in the village. So you guys saw that. And then it cuts back to Tabitha, and Tabitha is there talking to the pastor. She goes to the confessional, and I was trying to take, pay attention to the things that Tabitha was saying, and I think it's just a dead end. But I know Tabitha said, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned." Right, and I thought that you were supposed to say, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned," and she didn't say that. And so I think that there might be something on with that when she said, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned." So if you guys know anything about confessionals and Catholic religion, what is she supposed to say? She's supposed to say, "Forgive me, Father," or "Bless me, Father." But I think she said, "Bless me, Father." It's been a long time since my last confessional. And then we see there where she's talking to the priest and he's talking about Thomas. So Thomas' name comes up, and she says, "How do you know I had kids?" And he's like, "The lunchbox." And he's like, "Please just entertain me." And so she starts pulling stuff out the lunchbox, and she explains she got from Victor. And when she pulls everything out the lunchbox, she sees the address where it says, "If lost, please return to Victor Kavanaugh at 1597 Borough Street." Now, somebody else on Facebook pointed out that the 1597 is a Fibonacci sequence, right? And so to be short, the Fibonacci sequence is just like a circle, pretty much. It's like a universal code for a circle. So by her going to this address, it's kind of hinting that she's going in a circle, right? That she's about to pretty much go back to Fromville. That's what I think. That's what I think. And then we got a couple other shots where you see Elgin and Tilly hanging out. Now, Tilly's the last person I think anybody should be hanging out with. Tilly is suspect as hell. Tilly is so sus, right? And he's just sitting with her chilling. Looks like they're knitting, having a good time. Right when all hell's about to break loose. Right when all hell's about to break loose. And then we cut to a scene where Boyd is all bandaged up and he's still cut now. he should definitely go see Christy about that because look, this is the last place you want to get an infection. Yeah, man, this the last place you want to get an infection. So he need to get up out of there. He needs to make sure that those wounds are clean and bandaged and that he's getting healthy again. But also, too, somebody was pointed out that they think the people in Fromville are healing quicker, right? Because to me, Ellis had a fatal wound, right? Like the lung punctured and all that. I feel like that was a career-ending injury. He Boyd being shot with, I guess it was bird pellet. Maybe it wasn't actual slug or bullet. Maybe it was like bird shot in that rifle, and so maybe he got splattered. But I feel like the spray and the damage would have been his whole right side or whole left side, not just a couple of hits on his arm. But then we got Fatima in the bathroom. Fatima's sick, and so let's see. I want to go back for a second because I just put out another video, and a lot of people were talking about this. So I believe that Fatima is what they call Wendigo, and I seen other people reposting about this and talking about this.
Today we get to find out.
And so my theory with this is that a lot is going on with Fatima. I think we all can agree on that. And one of the things is to me that she is turning into a creature. She's turning into a monster. And I mean, I guess there's different ways for that to happen, right? It said that, we saw last season when the cicadas, got into Julie, Mari, and Randall. They kind of were changing into some sort of creature. They were going through some sort of process and their eyes were turning white. And people were saying like, oh, that their eyes were white, just like the creatures. So they were saying like, is that the process that happens when people turn into to the creatures? Now, Fatima did not get infected by the cicadas, but she could be possessed. And so I believe that being possessed is one way that people have turned into what they call wendigos. So I believe that. And so I believe that Fatima is becoming a Wendigo. So if you guys don't know what a Wendigo is, there's a couple movies out there where that might be familiar to you guys, where people were either turning into Wendigos or there was already some sort of mythical creature, Wendigo-like thing out there. Somebody pointed out that in the ritual, it was a Jotun, but a Jotun was like this Norse mythical creature, right? That was pretty much what it was right there. Now, Antlers was different. Antlers was guy was attacked, I believe, and he, because of his depression or grief or whatever it was, he turned into a Wendigo. And so that was pretty much what was going on Antlers. Now, some people were saying like, yeah, that's a lot to add at this point in the season, but reason why I say it's really not, because in season 2, Fatima did not have a storyline, right? She was this support character that was sort of helping out the Matthews family, or this support person that they were trying to make more interesting, for lack of better terms. Like they were really trying to make her more interesting and give her a storyline. And so I think now they're giving her a storyline as well. And so one of the reasons why I say that is because Fatima is not eating, right? And we seen in the trailer where the picture I showed, where she was sitting there throwing up. So she's not eating, she's not keeping anything down. Something's definitely going on inside of her body. It's changing almost. So a lot of people are believing that something's going on with her. I believe she's possessed, right? I believe that because Elgin keeps seeing the kimono woman in the colony house, it has to be somebody in the colony house. And that person, I believe, is either Fatima or Donna or Elgin himself. Or this is what I mean by that. It's just a figment of his imagination. And it could be. It could be. But I believe she's possessed. And I believe that she is going to turn into something. Now, what she's going to turn into, I don't know. Is she going to turn into the kimono woman? A lot of people seem to think so because she had that shirt on in season 2, and it looks very similar to the shirt that the kimono woman has. But it's, to me, it's not the same. Yes, the hair is same, the face is similar, but I don't think that this is Fatima. I think it's something else. And one theory that I'm working on now is that I think the people of From have brought these things into Fromville already, right? Like Boyd came with his military skills, right? Why wouldn't Fatima already be possessed before she came to Fromville? We know that Victor's mother, Miranda, was having visions before she came to Fromville, right? And kind of led her there to try to save the children. I believe that a couple other people too had things going on with them before they got to Fromville, and these things are kind of manifesting more that they are here. Something's up with Donna. I think something was going on with Father Kotri, right? These things were already in place before they got to Fromville. And so I think so that's one of the theories I'm thinking of now. Let's see what else did I put on here. I talked a little bit about Fatima's backstory. And so, if you guys don't know what her backstory is, it's pretty much one of grief and some hard things. She was sitting out by the Brundles, and she was talking to Julie about her father being a preacher and being dragged out of the house and killed. Now, I said that they might even hit us with what they call like a double entendre here, meaning like her father was dragged out and killed, but Fatima did not say by who, right? I think there's a big possibility that it could have been military, right? And if it was military, could it have been Boyd? Now, somebody said that Boyd was in Iraq and this was in Iran, but there's times where soldiers run special ops, right? Or black ops, right? There's a chance that Boyd could have been doing something in Iran he wasn't supposed to, and that really didn't happen, right? Some people died, but nobody knows who did it. And if you ask me, I was never there, right? Like that's how those type of stuff goes, right? So he could have got a mission to do something or went along, or it turned into something and it ended up being Fatima's father. But what are the chances that, the guy she married could have been responsible for her father being killed? It could be Boyd, right? And then she's got this baby in her that's turning into this monster. And I said in this video, it could ultimately turn into something where Ellis has to make a decision, right? To either save Fatima or save the baby, right? I think that's 100% what's going to happen with this storyline. And I believe he's going to choose to save the baby because we know his father had to do the same thing. His father had the decision to save Abby or save Ellis, and he chose to save Ellis. So there's a lot of decisions going on with this. So we'll have to wait and see. But so that's my thoughts on Fatima. We don't really know what's going on with her at all. So let's see what other clips do I have. So going back to this slide, she's here in the bathroom. She's obviously sick. I can't really tell if it's the morning time or not, but could be morning sickness, or she could just be not wanting to eat. But I believe that she is going to eat. I believe that she's going to eat all that rotted food, and that's the same thing that happened in Antlers. The guy was eating like dead rotted food, and he turned into the Wendigo. So that's where I made that connection. And then we see Tabitha on the cell phone, right? And so Tabitha on the cell phone, I believe she's called. Well, I said she was going to call Jim, but we found out she didn't call Jim. She called her mother. And so, so I believe that's exactly. So I did a whole nother video about the grandparents on my page as well. And so, and I was specifically talking about um, Tabitha's parents, right? So let's look at some of that right now since we see her on the phone. See, I made a mistake here. So I thought I took for that second in the first episode where I didn't put it back. So here we go. So I'm switching to another one of my videos, which was who are the grandparents, right? So this is on my page. And in this video, I sort of break down, um, who I think the grandparents are since they mention them so much. I mean, we've heard that in the first episode, and I'm a big believer that the answer to what's going on in From was given to us in the first episode. So I pretty much was analyzing everything in the first episode. I analyzed um, the first thing, which I think is evil, which was Jim pulling off the highway, right? I think that was a big indicator that something was going on. He wasn't using the GPS, and so there was really no reason for him to turn off. And it just didn't sit right with me. And for the fact that he turned off the highway, let me know that he knew where he was going. And later in the RV, they were having a conversation. He talked about going to the grandparents' house. Now, it was he didn't necessarily say that's where they were going, but he said, "I believe I remember the last time when we went to your parents' house." And so that made me think that this time they were also going to their parents' house. But he was just telling a story from the past, right? But
Now, the missing posters
but I did find out later that they were going to Yellowstone, right?
said the family was last seen leaving Glendale, Arizona, and headed towards Yellowstone.
And he just said towards Yellowstone. I mean, and I believe that's where they were going, but I don't know where Tabitha's parents live at. But it could have been by Yellowstone, so it could have been in Idaho or Montana or Wyoming is where they could have lived at.
And headed towards Yellowstone. But that's not what they said. There was zero mention of Yellowstone, neither did anyone look packed for hiking or camping. There was no camping gear or any sign of any camping luggage in the RV. Now, this could be the show being the show, but if you ask me, it seems odd. During the ride, Jim said this to Tabitha. Remember the last time we went to visit your parents?
Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about when she said, "Remember the last time." Then they said it again in this next scene. But now I watching this again, I realized that when Ethan and Jim were talking in the house, they were talking about Jim's parents. And Ethan said to his dad, "When we see Grandpa," right? So it's kind of like I don't know if both their parents are alive. I mean, I don't know if Jim's mom and dad is alive, and I don't know if Tabitha's mom and dad are alive. All we know is that when she went to the village, when she used the phone, she called her mom. She didn't call her dad, and it didn't seem like the mom on the other end of the phone went and got the dad. You get what I'm saying? So it could be one parent, right? Each of them have one parent, and or when they were here talking about the grandfather could have passed, and so I think they was trying to have more conversations with Ethan about death and stuff like that, and about people pass. So I don't know, but they brought it up a lot, and so yeah, we're trying to figure out who the grandparents were with the little bit of information they gave us. And at this time, this is when I kind of came up with the theory that we didn't know who Eloise was. We hadn't seen the flashback. And I thought, wow, what if Eloise was, Tabitha? And so, but we know that that's not the case because we found Victor's father. And so, in another video that I did, I was breaking down who was Henry,
Your
who
team
he
comes to
was.
work.
And so, we'll take a quick look at that and talk about who is Henry. And I guess I'll kind of fast forward through it. And so, but I do still kind of believe that there's a chance that that we've already seen could be Victor's sister, because we've seen in the flashback, we've seen this girl, and to me she looks like Tabitha a little bit. Darker hair, right? Similar facial structure, and we don't know what Eloise looks like as an adult. Some people are saying it could be Donna. I mean, and this is something we've seen in Bates Hotel, where the person doesn't exist, but they are either figment of that person's imagination, or they dress up like them, or they're the same person. So there's all type of twists that they could go with this until they show what Eloise looks like as an adult. We don't know. We don't know what she looks like, and she could be anybody. Pretty much at that point, I guess that's a better theory. She could be anybody. And these were the pictures that were in the house. And there was a lot of pictures, a lot of drawings. So we knew that this was Victor's house. And we knew that the guy had to be related to Victor. And I believe that it could either be Henry or Christopher. And now I did get a chance to interview Scott McCord, who plays Victor. And I asked him what his thoughts were about Christopher, because really we only got a little bit of information that he was just a funny guy. But we did see the picture and Victor in the background. Now, Victor could have just been walking past, but I believe there was more than just him walking past. I believe that he might have been with Christopher, maybe in the same car, and Christopher could have been with Miranda. But we do see that Henry has on a ring, right? So in the clip, we see that he has a ring on, so he was married to somebody, and it could not have been that long. Like, I know, if put it from his perspective, he lost his family, he doesn't know what happened to him, and he's grief stricken, so he keeps the ring on. But I don't think it's been that long. Like I said, I think the time and the whole space thing, I think when we find out how long Victor's been gone, I think he's only been gone 12 years. So that doesn't explain why he grew up so fast, or why Victor is now an adult when he's really only 12, but that would explain a lot of things that go on with him and why he kind of acts like a child. So let's see. But we do see this little family portrait back here, and I was trying to blow the picture up so I can get a better look at it, but I really don't get that good of a look at it. But it looks like Christopher, right? In this picture, the way it is, the way his face is, it looks like Christopher. And somebody pointed this out to me, that in one episode, Christopher looked one way, and then when we see him again, he looks different. And you can clearly see that they're two different people in this clip. But like I said, that could just be the show being the show. But to me, it does look like Christopher more than it does Henry. But then I saw this picture where there would look to be like there was two blonde haired boys, and it looked so good. I thought maybe Henry was Victor's brother. Kind of thought they might be around the same age, but Henry has a full head of gray hair. Victor still has color to his hair. Not that that means anything, but that could possibly mean um, that they're not related. But it could have been that. We didn't know at this point. We still don't know. We don't know what happened to Christopher, but hopefully we'll get some answers and we'll find out what happened to him. And then hopefully they give us another flashback, and we find out what happened to Eloise when she left the root locker, because it looked like she left the locker, left him in the cellar. He didn't come out. She left. Now Victor said he found the mother's body outside the tree, but he didn't find his sister. And so I went back and I found the scene. I wanted to find out exactly what he said. And he said, Eloise said, right? So that means that she was still alive. That's where my mother went that night. So meaning that just by that sense alone, it has to be another night that he saw his sister, and his sister told him where his mom went. That she went to save the children in the tower. And for a little while, I was thinking that the tower was different than the lighthouse, but I believe it's the same, right? The tower is the same as the lighthouse. So let's see what else we got on here. Yeah, so the tower is the same as the lighthouse. And so they went to go save the children. Like, so who are the children? I was messing around with some theories. So this is the altar room, the sacrificial chamber, if you will, and there's 7 sacrificial stones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I was trying to figure out some of the stuff in the background. We obviously see like a smaller opening with bars over them, sort of like cages. And then we see this other stone in the back here. And I was trying to figure out, is that the 8th altar? And the reason why is because if you really look at how many kids there are, there's more than just the 7 kids that we see. There's really 11 children in the village when you count Ethan and Victor. So and the boy in white. So there's the boy in white, there's one ghastly kid, there's 7 ghoulish kids, and then there's Ethan and Victor. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And they're listed like that in IMDb. So you've got the ghastly kid, the ghoulish kid 1, ghoulish kid 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and the ghastly kid. I don't know what the difference is with a ghastly kid from a ghoulish kid, but there's obviously a difference, and it seems to be that the ghastly kid has been in more scenes than the rest of the ghoulish kids. And the reason why I said that Victor is a child is because when we see those flashbacks of the town at night, when back when Victor was a kid, I believe that is the time that the entity or the village still looks at Victor like a kid. So, and I also had a feeling that when the writing was on Sarah's arm, when it said kill the boy, I think they were talking about Victor. I think Victor is the one that they have to kill, or that if Victor dies, all this ends. Somebody said, so how you doing, Brandy? Welcome to the live stream. She said that was not the same voice screaming in the previews, not at all. It sounded like Sarah screaming. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about who was screaming and what was going on. And yeah, I agree. It was definitely somebody else. But I've noticed they do that too. Like they'll put things in trailers that you won't see in the series, or they'll replace audio or edit a clip to make it seem like it went one way when it scene really goes the other way. So what is Victor digging up? I don't think he's digging up his mother's body. That's what a lot of people thought. I don't think Victor's digging up his mom's body. I think that he might be just digging up like some more drawings. I really think that's really what it is. He seems to bury those things because he draws what he sees. And so he's trying to bury these memories. He's trying to get it out of his head. So he puts it on paper and he buries them so he can try to forget about them. So I believe he's just digging up maybe like a suitcase or something with more trees in there. So we don't know. So I always ask this question. Well, I've been asking this question now, going into season 3. Does anybody really want to escape? Right? Because Victor does not want to escape. I know for a fact Sarah does not want to escape. I know for a fact Boyd doesn't want to escape. I know that there's all these other people in Fromville who do not want to escape. And I do believe that there's only one person who wanted to escape in Fromville, and that person has escaped, and that was Tabitha. She's the only person that wanted to get out of there. And I believe, even going further back to Miranda and Eloise, I believe that Miranda wanted to help the children, but not really escape. But I believe that Victor's sister wanted to escape. So she either got out or she's still there somewhere. And I think there's clues to that. All right, so that was pretty much that whole video on who is Henry. So I'll play some of the other clips that I have from the episode. And so we did see in the trailer that the farm animals got loose. And so here's the farm. I mean, they got a couple chickens over there. They've got, it looks like a cow. I can't see what's behind Randall, but it could be another goat, more goats, or it could be another cow. And there's sheep and things like that. And so Randall, I guess, is hungry, and he's got curry goat on his menu tonight. So he just brazenly walks up to the barn in front of the whole town and grabs a goat. Now I did somebody said, bro, just put the fries in the bag. And so the other clip was from here. You see him grabbing the goat. And then you see, oh, my man Victor pulling out the blammer to stop Randall. But I think all this is because Ethan thinks that the goat is his friend, right? He doesn't want nothing to happen to the goat. And if you remember in season 1, that's also how Sarah almost killed Ethan by asking him if he wanted to go see the goats. And so the goat is a really big weakness for Ethan. And so we see Victor pretty much pulling out the gun, trying to stop Randall. Boyd coming over, taking the gun from him, and then tells Randall that they can't eat the goat right now because of the resources. And then you see Boyd back in his office later, and now you can see it's pretty much nightfall. And so I don't know why, but every time we see Boyd in his office or whatever and looking at his map, it's just too cool, right? Like how great of a shot is this Boyd looking at this map, still with hope, trying to figure out what this all means. But I feel like he's trying to conceptualize it, but he's not trying to escape. And then here we got the infamous shot of him looking out the window, and this is when he sees all the animals outside. And so this is pretty much earlier. I guess I should have put this clip after it, but they're pretty much at Tien's house, and they're all, talking about what's going on. And then later, they look outside and see the goats, and so everybody runs outside, and then here they come. The freaks come out at night, and we got the creatures out in full force. We got the diner lady, we got George R. R. Martin, we got the librarian, and we got the cheer girl, all on the prowl. And so they're coming one way, and so the goats, I guess they go out there to get the animals, and they're running the opposite direction. And so then they end up getting Ethan looks out the window, and then that's how he opens the door, and that's how he gets attacked by the creature. Everybody was trying to figure that out. Like, what happened? And was there an eclipse? There was no eclipse. Even though eclipse would be cool. Like, we've seen tons of things, happen as far as weather, seasons changing. We got snow now. There was some big hurricanes, or the sky turned black when they try to put the satellite up. We've seen rain. We've seen tons of things happen. So it's not out of the way that eclipse could happen, but it didn't happen in this episode. And so they're pushing the animals back to the barn. And Tien, I guess, instead of running in the house, she decides to help Boyd because it looks like the goat was not going the way he wanted. He gets in the barn, and I wanted to look at this scene because if you look at it, he 100% put a talisman on the door of the barn. And so, I mean, you would think that if you're inside the house, you put a talisman up, then the creature can't come in. But if you're in the barn and the talisman's up, then they shouldn't be able to get out unless there was another way. So there must be another door in there. And I guess he wasn't thinking about it, and it must have been open because as soon as he turned around, bam, everybody was in the barn. Everybody was in the barn. And so, man, that was a hell of a plot, right? They set him up real nice with that. Free the animals, knew that they were going to run out, and I really think what they were trying to do was put a hit out on Ethan. They were trying to pretty much divide and conquer, and they made a direct play for Ethan. But I feel like the creatures could have, if they really wanted to get Ethan, instead that they should have had one at the front door, one at the back door, but they didn't. So they just had one in the front door. And so I got some other slides, some other pictures here as well from not only this episode, but also this season. It looks like Jade has got something going on here. So Jade, has been obsessed with the symbol. He's trying to figure out, and it looks like he's moved past trying to figure out what the symbol means, because I think what he saw in the cave gave him the answer that he's looking for. And he said that it was not a symbol, I believe. So he knows that it's not a symbol. It's trees, right? He pretty much said it's the trees. That's pretty much what he said. And so it looks like he got to the bottle tree and took some of those bottles down and is trying to make sense of the numbers that he found in the bottle tree. Then we got some clips here. Elgin's, like I said, going through living nightmares with this kimono woman haunting him to the point where he doesn't even want to go to sleep. And it looks like in this scene, the kimono woman is right there. Then this scene right here is before Kenny and Jim go to the forest, and then bam. So I feel like this was a big this is still yet to be confirmed, but pretty much this is a picture of Tabitha and a picture of the creature, of the Komodo woman. And I was saying before, until we see them in the same room, we can't say that they're separate people, right? If we've only seen the Komodo woman separate, we've seen Fatima separate, then they could be the same person. I think this pretty much solidifies that Fatima is not the Komodo woman if Elgin somehow took a picture of her and they're both in the picture. But then it could mean that it's her reflection, it could mean that it's her shadow, or I don't know, it could be like vampire in a mirror type of deal, right? Like when you see her, when you take a picture of her, this is what you see. So I don't know. And then here's Elgin really getting touched by the Komodo woman. So it looks like she's saying something to him, but I don't know what she could be saying to him. And then this was it. So this was an exclusive. This was the blue map, right? So everybody's talking about the map in Victor's room. Everybody's talking about the map in the peach truck. But here is the map, the blue map. And this looks to be a more accurate drawing of the town. So you can see the village in the middle. And if you look on the left, you see the lighthouse. And if you notice, now I notice there's a couple of things at the top and the bottom. There's like it looks like a sun or half a sun at the top and a half a sun at the bottom. Or it could be the moon, I don't know. But pretty much the way that's working, it's kind of reminds me of like the talisman, right? Like round circle, the trees, right? And the people kind of in the middle. So I don't know. I would love to know what y'all think. So let me know in the chat what you guys think. And then, of course, there are some spoilers. I know everybody's saying that the episode's out now. People are watching it, but I think everybody from the original trailer knew that somebody was going to pass away. We just didn't know what episode. And I'm pretty sure that the person that passed away is Tien Chen. And in this picture, it kind of confirms it. It's not looking too good for Tien Chen right here. It's not looking too good for Tien. So, and like I did say, she went into the barn. She was pushing the cow with Boyd. Boyd gets into the cow in the barn, closes the latch. He puts a talisman on the door and turns around, and it's the creatures. And next thing you know, bam, they got her. They got you, bro. They got you. So let's see. I think I got some other videos on here too. So I was trying to figure out who's on the phone. I think that was a real big theory that was going on, and I think that we get to find out who was on the phone. I gotta go back and watch it, but I believe they did show who was on the phone, and I think that first of all, for the fact that we did find out who was on the phone, you guys gotta remind me. For those who saw the first episode, did we find out who was on the phone? If we did find out who was on the phone, let's put it in the chat. Let's see. I'm trying to see what other information I got. Oh, but this is who I believe that it could be it could have been a couple people on the phone. But even if it wasn't a dream, we found out it wasn't a dream. But I believe that it's not real. If you get what I'm saying, like it's not real. Like we know that it's not his son, and we know that this place has a way of manipulating people to their worst nightmares. And this goes back to season 2 where things were dreams were coming true. Like Sarah said that her brother was afraid of cicadas, right? And the cicadas were the main creatures going around here. But to me, that didn't make sense because her brother was already gone. So how could that manifest if her brother was not there? But I do believe that the reason why um, Jim got that phone call was because that he walks around with that guilt every day. Just like the whole Brian Kelly thing with Boyd, right? Where the two people got off the bus, one person was named Brian, one person was named Kelly, and they were together. And just like Boyd shared the story where he was talking about when he was at war, when he was in the military, one of his platoon people died, and he had to watch him, and that person's name was Brian Kelly. So there's a lot of parallels that go on with From, and I think most of them are manifestations from their things they walk around with, and I also think that has something to do with things that were going on before they even got to this town. All right. Well, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and go through a couple of my videos. I know everybody's telling me that the episode is out right now. And so, listen, I would love, 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 love to hear what you guys think. Please, let's talk about it in the comments. I'll be back on later today. We're doing the From Trivia. So if you guys want to join that live, when I'm doing the From Trivia, it will be out today, later today. And so I got it all ready to go. So I'm probably going to try to do that like around 7 or 8. And so you guys and so pretty much we'll go through From Trivia, and we'll go through some of the things we saw in episode 1. And then I'll also be releasing today the full interview, the part 2 interview with Tien Chen. So I think you guys will want to watch that, especially after the episode of 1 that you guys see. I don't want to spoil it before you guys watch it. So check that out. I think that's coming out at 3 p.m. And then I'll be on tonight, later around 8 p.m., going over the From Trivia and with some of the main things. So like if I said if you guys want to be notified of when that goes live, you guys can just click that notification. So yeah, a lot of people's coming in here saying they just watched it. Maxim Tommy said he just watched it. It was crazy, huh? It was crazy. So look, Deanna Marie said her head was still spinning. That episode was insane. Somebody said they just watch it again. So look, this is what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to go watch the episode, watch it again. Let's talk about it in the comments. I'll come back on live later tonight, and we can do the full review. So look, I want to thank you guys for just joining this quick live. It's only been about an hour and a half. I just want to come on here, go through some of the theories, and maybe connect some of the dots, and then go over some of the pictures that I had from tonight's episode, which was Tabitha waking up in the hospital, escaping the hospital, right before the police come, and we confirmed that Tabitha was in Camden, Maine, and then her walking down the street, seeing the boy in white, and who to me does not look like the traditional boy in white that we've seen in other seasons, and then finding out what's going on in the Lost Village, finding out how she found Victor's house, and then the visions with Elgin, what's going on with Boyd, and what's going on with Fatima. So I would definitely like to talk about that. So look, I'm gonna come back on later tonight, and we can all talk about it. If you guys want to join the From Trivia, let's do that. But until then, stay safe. Make sure you got your talisman up tonight, because this is definitely a From day. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining.